Welcome. You're tuned into Life is a Sacred Journey. Every week, we bring a new perspective to aging and caregiving. Here is your host, Micheal Pope.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the virtual neighborhood of Life is a Sacred Journey. I am your host, Micheal Pope, and it is Friday. I am happy that it's Friday this week. I'm really tired. I've been dealing with allergies, and so because of that, I haven't slept very well. I mean, and I have all the stuff, the air purifier, all of that stuff. But as you can hear from my voice, that I'm having post-nasal drip and itchy eyeballs and all kinds of stuff going on. But I'm so happy it's Friday because I get to spend the first half of my morning and day with all of you out there in the Life is a Sacred Journey family, virtual family. And it is pondering number 66, I think is what Felicia told me. And so welcome. Hit the share button if you would, and subscribe if you would. That would be great. And we want to kind of grow, keep growing. I am so excited because in a couple of weeks, Dr. Pearl is going to be coming back and talking to us about this AI and how it relates to caregiving, as well as some of the new, I heard about this, and he actually brought this to our attention about Amazon fulfilling prescriptions and things of that nature. So Dr. Pearl, it's been a while since he's been on Life is a Sacred Journey. So he's one of our favorite guests. And so he's going to be coming back to bring us up to date on AI and how that fits into the now and the future of the healthcare process and caregiving. Because I think there's some AI things that might be very supportive, that they're already in homes or already happening across the caregiving, care partner landscape. But I think he'll help us to understand that maybe we can do some more things and be supported a little bit more if we go that route of some AI and technology. So first I want to say, wow, I got this book, Voices of the 21st Century, Gail Watson, Lynn Abate Johnson, as you can see. And it's every paragraph is a story from 45 women across the United States, women of all backgrounds and diversity. Well, Lynn's story in this book is You Are Worthy of Love. And wow, Lynn, it's amazing the story you can tell in a couple of pages. And the story of young womanhood, where we don't quite understand our value and who we are. Lynn shares her personal story, Voices of the 21st Century, Women Empowered Through Passion and Purpose, Gail Watson, and our dear friend and my sister, Lynn Abate Johnson. I'm going to make this right. And wow, Lynn, thank you for sharing. I want to tell you about it, but I want you to get the book so that you can read the whole thing. But one of the things that Lynn says in here that I think is really amazing, and I'm going to paraphrase it so I'm not giving away, because I really do want you to read it. I remember in college, I'll never forget it, because it sticks with me to this day. This beautiful man that I met, and I still know this person. Beautiful man to me. He was amazing, tall, dark, and handsome. You know what I mean? And how you can be involved in that situation and not be present to self. And that was just, now that I'm oh, goodness gracious, a seasoned woman, I realized that, we need to start, it's not about being brash or being cruel or anything like that. It's about loving yourself. and knowing who you are. And I wish I had known that earlier in my life. And Lynn reminded me, because I think we probably were close to around the same age, or a little bit around the same age when she's telling this story. So get the book, Voices of the 21st Century. You can go to Lynn Abate Johnson's website, and that would be great, because she will then autograph it for you. As you can see, I have see my autograph. Yay, yay. So check it out. It's a great book. Even the other sisters that have written in here about their story, man, powerful stuff. Okay, here we go. So that's our book for today. I wanted to ponder with you this morning a couple of things. First of all, I want to share with you, because a couple of folks have asked me how Thursdays with Nora is going. I want to tell you something, folks. You don't have to be a grandparent to have this experience. There are places where you can go and volunteer. Little people need your wisdom. Little people need to be around you as you are becoming an elder in our society. But I'm gonna tell you, because we have some, I think they're middle schoolers coming today, high schoolers coming today to help us out. Open your heart, open your time to young people. I can't tell you, being with Nora is making me feel young. And I don't mean chronologically young. I just mean being able to laugh with abandonment, being silly. I think that she's helping me because I'm on the floor a lot, so I'm getting up. I'm getting up off of the floor. So I actually think that's a good thing. And I learned, we're going to talk about that a little bit in a few minutes, but I've learned that's a really good thing to do, is as you get older, sit on the floor and get up and down from the floor. It really helps with balance and core strength and all that. So she's helping me with that. But more than anything else, we get jaded by our life experiences, and we get jaded by our interactions with each other. The interaction with her is pure. The interaction with her is what it is. And I have to lean in to who she is and what she needs. I'm trying to understand every sound that she makes, because she's not verbal yet, right? She's verbal in the sense that she's making sounds and she's learning sounds, but she doesn't have vocabulary that's auditory. She has vocabulary because we're talking to her a lot. It's going in there. And one day it's going to come all out, right? But being in that sacred moment with another human being and just taking off my cool vest, taking off my CEO of ASAB, Alzheimer's Services of the East Bay, my role as conference lay leader, my role as delegate, my role as volunteer and philanthropic person, my role as a follower, my role as a woman, all the roles that I play when I'm with her. The only role that I have is Nini, because that's the word that I have chosen to be called in our relationship. Nini is an African word for grandma or elder woman. So yeah, so just get that experience. You can do it with also if you volunteer at a shelter. Right now, the shelters are impacted, and they really need people to come and volunteer and talk to these animals and treat them with love and kindness, because they've been mistreated. I was talking with Sandy Blazer last night at church, and she has adopted two beautiful little cute little chihuahuas. They're siblings. I can't remember what she named them. Sandy, tell us what you named them, because I know you're probably watching. Right in the chat, because I remember when they were at the shelter, their name was, they named them Yin and Yang. But she's noticed that they bark when men come to the door, not their papa, her husband, but other men. So that's a clear indication that they were abused, when in a way where they're protecting they've already bonded with her and her husband, with she and her husband, and they now are protecting them, and that could be seen early on, and it was seen also at the shelter. So they need our love, they need a home, and so Yin and Yang, and again, that's not their names. She renamed them. Are very happy in their new home. They love their new home and they love their new mama and papa. And those are their forever mama and papa, not somebody. I mean, again, sometimes circumstances happen in people's lives, and I get it. But a lot of the people, a lot of the animals that are abandoned in shelters are abandoned because one did not think of it as a lifetime commitment. I've moved because of my dog. Yeah. So, it was a lifetime commitment till death do us part, so to speak. So just wanted to share, yes, Thursdays with Nora is one of the most amazing times of my life. Every Thursday I have a journal that was given to me by Nancy. Hi, Nancy. Good morning. I journal in that, and yeah, so it's and I'll leave it for her when I'm 101. Yeah. Or 2 or 3 or 10 or 20, who knows? But I want to talk a little bit about that. During Nora's nap yesterday, I had the opportunity to watch a Netflix documentary on the Blue Zones. And I'm very familiar with the Blue Zone. Some of the Blue Zone lifestyles, things I have adopted myself. The walking, the cleaning my own house, cooking, getting down on the floor and getting up, being in fellowship with other people. But I wrote down some notes because I wanted to share this with you, particularly if you are a caregiver, care partner. This is very important for all of us, but it's particularly important for caregivers and care partners because you have an added stress of caring for someone else and taking on the decision making for their lives. So they talk about good food. I also watched another documentary that was on. They did a twin study, which I thought was fascinating, and science showed hands down, being a vegan diet is much more healthier for you, particularly if you have in your family high blood pressure, diabetes. Heart disease, any of these kinds of things that create patterns of early death, then you want to make sure that you're looking at your diet. And again, it wasn't about carbs and all of that because some of them ate carbs and lost a lot of fat, that visceral fat. They also increased their muscle strength, which was incredible, and they lost weight. So it really showed that the vegan diet, but it was also exercise, and they did a lot. They exercised and they monitored their oxygen levels. They created diets for each of them individually, but what made it great is that metabolically, because they were twins, they were very much alike. And so they could really see the difference between the folks that ate meat versus the folks who did not. And the other thing that was interesting in this documentary was that they were talking about, I got sick, I have to be honest, because they showed chicken farms and they showed the chicken farms, and that was really demoralizing to see chickens that were not, and when they say free range, that sometimes they're not saying that's not what they mean. What they mean is that they gave the chicken a little bit more space, but they're still confined and they're still around like thousands of chickens. It's like, whoa, to the point where some of them get so fat that they can't walk on the legs that they are genetically made to walk on. And so yeah, I think we need to become advocates too, as well. I think it can't just be about becoming a vegetarian or vegan or any of those things. It's about really becoming an advocate for good food and standards that do not create food or traumatize the life of the animal. I believe, and again, this is my belief, and I'm going to look it up later, but I do believe that any animal, pardon me, any animal that is traumatized prior to them being euthanized for food or killed for food, it impacts their DNA, which then impacts, because they're frightened, it impacts the quality of the food, that the meat that comes from that animal. I don't know that to be a fact. I'm going to do some homework on that, but I just believe that, and yeah. So I've been a non-meat eater for a really long time, pescatarian for a minute. I go in and out of that because every once in a while I just love a nice piece of fish. I have to be honest. I have to be honest. But for the 90% of the time, I'm eating vegetables, being pretty much cheese. I found there was a wonderful company that makes vegan cheese. I'm going to get it and taste it for you first and share it with you. And they're local. They're from the Bay Area. So I found out about that. And she makes it from, I believe it's cashews. So that's a good thing for us. There was also an opportunity to learn that it really is about cooking it yourself. That when you're cooking, let's say bok choy, that you can add garlic and all these different seasonings to your palate. And when you do that, then you also can, I love the idea because I love eating vegetables. You can eat more because it's a bulky food once you eat it, but you also eat more of it. So you feel a sense of fullness, and then the body can burn it off much easier. And then you don't end up with your stomach and things in your stomach for a long period of time, because you do void a lot more when you eat more vegetables and fruits and things of that nature. I have a good friend, she's in her 70s and she became a juicer. And so she invested in this beautiful juicing machine. It was expensive, but she's making her own juices, and you can just see the difference. Oh my gosh, in her skin, in her posture, and just her whole level of health and well-being. So again, you can add things. No one is saying, I have chosen to give up meat. I gave up meat a long time ago, and that's my choice. But what we're saying is, people, the science is showing people who are vegan, vegetarian, have a higher probability of living anywhere from 5 to 15 to 20 years longer because of that. Okay. Antibiotics and all the stuff they're doing to the meat, doing to the chicken, doing to the fish is the reality that also makes those things. You have to search for real organic stuff. I mean, when we say organic, it's not just that it's the language. You got to look at the language, because they opened stuff that said free range and still found salmonella and all kinds of stuff. I mean, and when I saw the packaging, I just went, oh, because I've purchased that brand. So do some homework before you, particularly as you're getting older and having arthritis, cellulitis, gout, and all of those things. There are chemicals and things in our food that also agitate those things, if not cause them in some ways. And so even when we think about sugar, or when we buy canned items, more and more I'm seeing them not being stored in syrup and being stored in the juice water of the fruit. Look for those things. The things are a little bit more expensive, and you do have to stock your cabinet with different kinds of things like baking soda, soy powder, Lots of, I use the 21 seasoning from Trader Joe's. Love it, love it, love it. I buy it in massive amounts. Um, and just different kinds of things like I recently started using a blackened mushroom powder. Ah, divine. I sprinkle it on my salads. It's wonderful. I love I'm not a big rice eater, excuse me, but if I'm gonna eat rice, I love jasmine rice. And I love to cook it first and then put it in a pan with olive oil and then mix my vegetables in it. But I don't cook a lot of it. It's not like I want it to be its own its own sort of part entree on my plate. No, what I want is for it to be mixed in to give the vegetables a little bit more bounty, that just makes them queen. You can use all kinds of things. Mushrooms are amazing if you love them. They're like eating a steak. I made a mushroom burger a couple of weeks ago. Oh my gosh, it was so divine. It was really divine because the juice was there, everything was there. The only thing I'm missing is I love cheese. I love cheese. And so I'm going to try this cheese out that I learned about yesterday. And again, as I said before, I'll let you know how it goes. I didn't write the name down, but I did write it down, but I left it at home. So good food, eat good food, find great restaurants. We're lucky to be in the Bay Area, or no, I'm lucky to be in the Bay Area, and many of you are in places. I know my family and friends back east, there's a lot of great restaurants. They actually advertise. There was a gentleman who's a chef on the documentary, and he talked about how he moved his restaurant from being one that served meat and other things to being a restaurant that's totally vegetarian and vegan. So that was really good. The other thing for long life is good friends. Good friends. I have to tell you, last night I went to our Maundy Thursday program for this Holy Week. And I saw friends that I hadn't seen in a while because I haven't been churching in my home church. I've been other places, but then other people who came who we hadn't seen because we brought interfaith. It was an interfaith opportunity, Maundy Thursday program. And so there were people who I know because I've lived in that community now for over 30 years. And so I know a lot of people through my kids. Boom, simple as that. So good friends, good relationships, breaking bread together, drinking wine. It said, drinking wine and eating good food and laughter and not rushing and scheduling fun, but fun that's organic. It's that is like one of the biggest. You get great brownie points for good food and good friends, and they go together. So if you bring them together, I have a wonderful friend who I haven't physically seen in a long time. His name is Marlon Hall. Look him up. Marlon is an anthropologist as well as a person that, I mean, he's an amazing human being. He's an artist. He's a pastor. He's just one of these sort of Renaissance individuals. And he holds these great events where people come and sit at a table, usually made out of a door, which I love because it's symbolic to sitting around a table with people eating, sharing, opens doors that advance who we are as humans, but also help us to grow in so many ways. Barriers come down, and then sometimes you solve some great problems. He's done many of these kind of table talks with food where mayors and senators and folks have been there, and they've solved some problems, in a couple of hours, just because everybody's guard was down. So check him out, Marlon Hall. He's a great friend and doing some great work and being the change he wants to see in the world instead of waiting for somebody else to do it. Plenty of movement. But this is what I want to tell you. They weren't talking about the kind of movement that we think. Usually we think about, going to a gym, being in that form of movement, all good, all good. I've had many gym memberships that I've wasted some money because after a moment, just not being engaged with it. But plenty of movement, meaning going for walks, meaning being engaged in pickleball or tennis or movement that also is with good friends. You see what happens? You're in fellowship, you're in partnership, you're with other people. I know some people love to play golf. Any kind of sport or activity that helps you to be in movement, be with others. I was thinking about bowling. I love bowling. I haven't done bowling in a while, so I'm gonna see if I can get my daughter to go bowling with me here in the near future. Anything that gets you out and about, moving. If you're nervous about COVID or this new flu or cold, put a mask on, but get out in the air and movement. The thing that what I found that was interesting about movement is that they talked about natural movement, and that's different than the gym. Natural movement is gardening, walking, cleaning, cooking daily, putzing around your garage and organizing, natural movements that, and really doing that. I know we do that here at Alzheimer's Services of the East Bay. And so caregivers, care partners, this is a good tip for you, for your loved one. And this happens a lot, and I've seen it, where a person is diagnosed with dementia, and then all of a sudden the family thinks the person needs to sit and be sedentary. No, I was actually talking with a family earlier this week, and that's their biggest concern, is that their loved one is starting to sit more and doesn't want to engage and says no thank you, and all of that. And what we're saying is stay engaged, stay moving, give that person stuff to do, folding the laundry, standing and folding the laundry, upper body. You're not doing like this, or maybe you are, because you're folding a towel and you're bringing it together and you're folding it again, folding the sheets. I was folding some sheets this morning, and I love the bottom sheet, that the fitted one is, you got to take it and stick it up under and stick it up under and fold it again. This morning, I just rolled it because nobody's going to sleep on it but me. And I don't really care that it's wrinkled, but because I was getting tired of it falling out, and then there was stuff in there. I was like, okay, just roll it. And then I flattened it and put it in the linen closet. So, but that's an activity. And so if you have an activity that your loved one who's living with any form of dementia, Alzheimer's, mental health, keeping them engaged and involved. Gardening is an amazing activity because you're getting up and down, you're moving from left to right. I advise wearing pads on your knees. I have pads, and then I also have I have a yoga mat, an old one, and I cut it in half and I put the two pieces together, and that's what I put with the pads, the knee pads as well, gardening pads, that so that my knees are, I got knees like that. So I want to keep them as healthy as long as I can. So just being in those natural movements. But what I found interesting, and people in San Francisco, yay for you, that people who went for walks, this was a little village in Italy where the people lived the longest. And what they found is it wasn't like they were power walking. They were walking and talking, but what they were doing is most of the little towns or villages in Italy spiral up. Oops. They spiral up. And so because they spiral up, the grade that people are walking, it requires the leg muscles and your heart to start pumping a little bit differently, even though you're not doing it in a vigorous way. So, and then the change in the altitude helps with the breathing. People get used to it, and your lungs get used to it. So all of this stuff, I found it very intriguing. This is another thing that, man, I know somebody that does this. I'm not going to say his name, but I know he takes naps. Taking naps are so important. It says take a nap. It was funny. There was a group of farmers, and when they talked to them, they asked them, how do you live your life, your best life? These guys were like 92 and 100, still working, la, la, la. They get up at the crack of dawn, they start their work, they have a little lunch. Lunch is usually, and I saw that they were eating olives and naturals and soups with different vegetables and things, and potatoes and bread and olive oil. I mean, come on now. And then maybe lots of water. They were drinking water throughout the day. And but then they took a nap, and then did more for the afternoon. Not vigorous stuff, but a little bit more. Most of it was, closing down the farm for the evening stuff, but they would go and take a nap. So I love that. I love that. I need to do that more. They said a glass of wine with your family or your friends is not a bad thing. So salute and enjoy that. They said having a sense of purpose. I loved it. There was a woman, she was, I think, almost 100. Never got married, never had any children, but the village of women that were surrounding her and making sure that she ate, making sure she had fellowship, took her to the doctor when she needed to go, made sure she had an incident where she had to be hospitalized. They took her and then visited her. And it was about 5 or 6 women. They all live in the same community. So that's a big thing about aging in place and aging in a way where you're able to navigate and live a long life. It's having love, it's having interaction, it's having connection, it's having all those things that make it so for you in your life that you're just plodding along. And she was vivacious and engaged and involved. It also talked about dementia. That they're finding that people who are engaged and involved eat a vegetarian diet. Again, they were focusing on some of those areas in the documentary. It doesn't prevent 100%, but boy, people have it. The percentage gets lower, and that's what we're trying to do as far as longevity and living our best lives. So I love that. Having a sense of purpose. So let me make sure I told you everything. Good food, good friends, plenty of movement, sense of purpose, natural movements, a nap, a glass of wine with family, and then lastly, meditation, prayer, mindfulness, spiritual practices. All of those things, they said, were very, very important to people having longevity. So I think it's amazing that all of this stuff is out there and that it's naturally out there, and you don't have to purchase anything. I have a bicycle in my garage with stuff on it. Yeah, it holds stuff really well. Actually, holds stuff really, really well. Oh my goodness. And I'm just here to say it's in the garage. It moved from room to room to another place in the house, and now it's in the garage. So ask me the last time that I was on it. I did dust it off at one point, but now it's a wonderful holder of clothes that I want to give away. So anyway, remember who you are. And I think that we buy these things. I know I bought it because I thought, oh, I'll save money and da 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 da. And I guess I did save money, but I haven't used it. So those are the things that that make you want to laugh when you're living your best life. You have to also have sense of humor, not only about yourself, but about the world around you, and not to be so serious. So as we're ending, One of my old colleagues that I again haven't seen in a long time, pre-pandemic, is Nader Shabahagi. He is a person who started a group called AgeSong Institute, and he has this philosophy that dementia and Alzheimer's is just another way of being. It's another heightened being, actually, that we need to, those of us who have cognition and are not experiencing Alzheimer's, dementia, or any form of memory loss, that we need to meet them, similar to what we've been talking about all morning. But in his book, Elders Today, Opportunities of a Lifetime, he talks about revisioning life. And he spoke to one of the seniors that he was involved with. And this is what they said. Yes, the spring times needed you. Often a star was waiting for you to notice it. A wave rolled towards you out of the distant past. Or as you walked under an open window, a violin yielded itself to your hearing. And I love that, because what that means under the title of revisioning life, and my challenge and opportunity to you this morning, I share this with you, that you have this opportunity. Nobody has to give you permission to live in the moment, to live in the sound of rain, to find a vocabulary that is uplifting and positive, not only about others, but about yourself, to let judgment go of yourself and of others, so that you don't have to walk around thinking you're inferior to anybody else, or thinking that someone is inferior to you. Look at the stars, because I love this. They're waiting for you to notice them. I love that. The stars are waiting for you to notice them. Some of us live in urban areas and it's much harder to see the stars. But guess what? You can go on YouTube and look up stargazing, and they will show you the most amazing star masses and views from the telescopes that we have that are hitting satellites all out there. So even if you live in an area where the lighting is a little high, and so therefore the stars get kind of swallowed up, take a look up and look at the stars, because they're waiting for you to notice them. Also, I'm a water person, so if you have an opportunity to go to the ocean and feel some of that waves and the enzymes of the water and the salt and the sound, and be reborn through that, go do that. Revision your life. And if you walk under an open window and you happen to hear Nina Simone, or I don't know, Josephine Baker, or I don't even know, somebody, a violin, or Yo-Yo Ma playing the cello, slow your pace a little bit. Don't look in the window, because that's called a peeping Tom. But slow your pace a little bit and ponder and wonder, wow, I wonder if it's a recording, or is it a person actually practicing? Enjoy the world around you. Yes, there's war. Yes, there's grief. Yes, there's sorrow. Yes, there's death. Yes, and yes, 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 yes. But there's also joy. There's also happiness. Hang out with some children. Go to a park and listen to their laughter. Listen to their conversations. Let them remind you that life is worth living, and enjoy it. Enjoy it. So, can we revision living in a world that is so important and that is shared with love and affection? Can we emphasize the point that we are all human beings, and that life is worth living, and that we have an opportunity to connect with each other in profound ways? that it doesn't mean language and going and swooping in on people and trying to change their culture. It means becoming a part of the culture and understanding that your perspective is just your perspective. Not being so willing to give up your uniqueness to join the group, the group think. Group think is great. I'm involved in a lot of group think these days, but you know, I'm fighting to keep my independence and all of this group thinking, and going by what I've learned and what I've known in my life, not being jaded that I'm not willing to learn and to experience from others, but not being so quick to think as others think. It's okay. Yeah, sometimes it's lonely to be different. Yeah, it is. I'm here to tell you. But it is what it is. I also get to meet some incredible people out there in the world. So, friends, we're coming to a beautiful weekend for me and for many of you out there. Many people are experiencing a great holy time. Even though there's so much tragedy and things going on, we have Ramadan is still happening, and this was Holy Week for Christians across the world, and we have I think we have another celebration of folks' faith and happening really soon. I'm trying to think about what it is. What is it? Passover. All of that's happening, and happening in this time. So whatever your faith practice is or is not, it is about taking time for self. It is taking time to reflect. And if you're a caregiver, a care partner, it really is important to you more than maybe some of us who are not actively caring for someone at this time in our lives. Lowering stress and not actually living stress-free. I learned from the Blue Zones documentary, but having a place to put it with good friends, good food, movement, dancing, all those kinds of things. When you have a stressful life, sometimes I go home and I turn on my music and I'm in my house dancing and I'm going down the hallway doing the Soul Train, skippity doo dah, and enjoying life, because this is it. This is it. Even if I believe, and I think I kind of believe in reincarnation, but I know I won't be Michelle Pope ever, 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 ever again. And so I want to make the best of it. So make the best of it. Make the best of it. And stop speaking negatively to yourself. Speak to yourself with love. So thank you for joining Life is a Sacred Journey. It is my honor to share my ponderings with you. Sometimes they make sense and sometimes they don't. We talk about caregiving and care partnering. We talk about ageism of all kinds, not just for our elders, but for our young people as well. We talk about the human condition, and we talk about the sacred journey. Life is a Sacred Journey is about the sacred journey. And so it includes all of us, every single last one of us, every piece of humanity, and also every creation, every tree, every fungus, everything. We're all in this together. Very cliche, but very true. All right, friends, have a wonderful weekend. And if you're out there right now feeling a sense of sadness and separation from the rest of the world, to the point that you think that your life is not worth living, please pick up a phone or grab a phone, or not grab it to steal it, but get a phone in your hand or reach out to somebody else and say, please call 988 for me. I need help. There'll be a good Samaritan out there. Some of us are kind of Yankee, and many of us are not, though, and we will help you. And so 988, there are people on the other line that are willing to talk you through whatever you're going through. And for those of you, again, Voices of the 21st Century, Women Empowered Through Passion and Purpose, Gail Watson and Lynn Abate Johnson. Her chapter is amazing. Again, you are worthy of love. And she says that as well. You are worthy. You are worthy. You are worthy. You are worthy of love. Have a great weekend. Get out if you can, even if it rains. You know what? Get out. Get out in the rain. Don't go for a stroll. Make sure you got yourself all, rain-free garb on, whatever you need to put on or not. And walk in the rain. Listen to the sounds of the rain hitting the ground and feel it on your face. And when you go back home, you can wash your face, do all the stuff that you need to do. But enjoy it. Enjoy it. All right. Take a deep breath, friends. Have a wonderful, 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 wonderful weekend. And peace. Take care.